Welcome to the Georgia Highlands College Math 97 and Math 99 tutorial videos. In this video segment, we'll be answering the question, how do you factor a polynomial using GCF? Well, the first step in this process is to determine what the GCF is between all of the terms. The second step in this process is to express each term as a product with the GCF. The third step is to actually factor out the GCF, which you might want to refer to as reverse distribution. And finally, we can check our work by multiplying. Let's take a look at an example. Let's take a look at the example problem. 27x squared y cubed minus 9xy squared plus 81xy. So we'd like to factor this trinomial using the GCF method. The first step in the GCF method is to determine the GCF for all the terms. Now you may be able to look at this and pick out all of the factors that they have in common, but if not, you can always use the method for finding the greatest common factor. So off to the side here, we'll look and find what that greatest common factor is. So we first have the term 27x squared y cubed, which could also be written as 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27, x times x, x squared, times y times y times y, which gives us our y cubed. Our next term is negative 9xy squared. Well, that could also be written as negative 1 times 3 times 3 times x times y times y. And our final term, 81xy, can be written in its prime factored form as 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, 81, times x times y. And once again, we'd like to go back and identify the factors that these have in common. So they all have a factor of 2 3's. They each have 1x, and they each have a factor of y. So we have 3 times 3 times x times y, which gives us a GCF of 9xy, meaning that they each have a factor of 9xy within that term. Our next step in the process is to express each of these terms as a product of the GCF and whatever other factors are within the term. So if we look at the first term, 27x squared y cubed, we could also call that 9xy times, well, 9 times 3 is 27, x times x is x squared, and y times y squared is y cubed. So our first term is completely written as a product of the GCF and then the other factors within that term. Our next term, negative 9xy squared, can be written as positive 9xy. There's our GCF. And then we have to figure out what we had to multiply to make that term. So that would be multiplied with a negative 1. We already have an x there, so we don't need to multiply with another x, but we do need to multiply with another y to make y squared. And finally, our last term, 81xy, can be written as 9xy times 9 to make 81xy. So we've completed the second step of expressing each term as a product of the GCF and their other factors. Our third step is to do reverse distribution. So instead of multiplying into a set of parentheses, we're going to divide that GCF off of each term and pull it out front. So if I bring my GCF out front, I'm left over with the trinomial 3xy squared minus 1y, but we don't write the 1. It's understood to be there. We simply write y, and then plus 9. This is the completely factored form of the polynomial 27x squared y cubed minus 9xy squared plus 81xy. And the reason that this is considered factored is because it answers that question, what did I have to multiply together to get that expression? We can check this, which is our final step of the process, by simply multiplying it back out and seeing if we end up what we began with. So if I multiply 9xy by 3xy squared minus y plus 9, I will distribute that 9xy to all three of the terms within my parentheses. 9 times 3 is 27. X times x is x squared. Y times y squared is y cubed, so 27x squared y cubed. Moving to the next term, 9xy times negative y. Well, a positive times a negative is a negative. 9 has no other number to multiply with except understood 1, so it remains 9. X has no other x to multiply with. Y times y is y squared. Moving to the last term, we have 9xy times 9, which gives us positive 81xy, which is exactly the polynomial that we began with. Therefore, we can now be confident in saying that 9xy times 3xy squared minus y plus 9 is the factored form of the polynomial 27x squared y cubed minus 9xy squared plus 81xy. Thank you for watching this tutorial video. If you have any other questions about how to factor using the GCF method, please contact your Highlands instructor.